Wesley, come. Come here. Hi. Hi, tuck your tail back in like that. It's a cold one. Gotta make sure you're ready, okay? Because this video is gonna be all about you. So you gotta look handsome. Make sure you got no eye bookers. Let me see your teeth. Oh, those are nice teeth. They're nice and clean. Let me see your ears. Oh, those are perfection. Are you ready to go? Warm up your vocal cords. Are we good? Yeah? Your rolls are in place? You ready to start? You ready? Gotta look over here. You ready to start your video? Look, up here. Wes, look. Up here, look. You gotta stop looking at me. You gotta stop looking at me. You look at me like you look at me like little pretty eyes. I love you. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel and part 2 of my get to know my pet tag. Meet my pet tag. This is my pet tag. If the lighting's a little wonky, it's because there's a thunderstorm out right now and this is as natural lighting as we're gonna get and as natural no foundation as we're getting today. So we actually have a bit of a delay on these videos because I wanted to do them in order from oldest to youngest in terms of my dog's ages. So we did the first video in this series already, which was with the double, my Chihuahua, who's 12. And Wesley was next in line, but when I was planning on doing his video, he got an additional diagnosis, which I guess is part of his story. And so we decided to wait, let things kind of chill out for a second, learn a new routine, and just just figure out our new plan for this chubby guy. So if you guys are unfamiliar, I do have 4 dogs. 3 of them are seniors, 4 of them are special needs. And so what we're going to be doing is breaking down each of their stories in a video and posting them randomly on the weekend. So the Topo story was first. I will link his video in the description box below. I think I'll make it a playlist so that it's just easier to find in the future. But we talked about him and his heart murmur and his enlarged prostate and all that fun stuff. So Wesley is next, and Wesley is almost 10. I know. I promised I wasn't going to tell him, but it's part of the story. He has what I can best describe as like people eyes. When he looks at you, like he sees you. When you're doing something silly like a goofy dance, like he judges you. When you ask him something, like if he wants a treat, he like really just, he has these eyes that just say everything. You know, all of my dogs have a way of communicating. Like Ernie's very vocal. If she could talk, she would. She's very, very, very vocal. The Topo is very emotional. So he will express himself, like he will get sad or happy, and you'll know exactly why, you know, his change happened. This one has the eyes. Those eyes, I mean, if you guys go back and you look at my weekend vlogs, wherever you see the dogs, and you observe Wesley, he just has these eyes that say everything. Now, Wesley's story is kind of interesting because he actually wasn't my dog. All of these dogs came into my life with just a random way, I guess. So Wesley, come here, buddy. Let me hold you for a second because they can't even see you. You're too busy over here lounging, getting super comfs. Come here. Come here. Come here. Oh man. So Wesley's 26 pounds. And these are his rolls. See how beautiful they are? They're like luxurious and soft. He's like a little chinchilla. He just loves to have his rolls massaged, don't you? Yes, you do. This is actually his injection site right in these rolls here for his diabetes. So Wesley, you gotta turn around so you can see your handsome face. I'm over here bragging about your emotional, communicative eyes and you're not even looking. So Wesley was actually my ex-husband's dog. He bought him at a pet store. I don't know if it was an impulse buy. Pretty sure it was like one of those things where he saw him in the window and he was like, I know he needs to come home with me. Impulse buy, bring him home, because he bought him in LA and he didn't live in LA. You know what I mean? So he got him at a puppy store. He came with like his pedigree and all this stuff. When we went on our first date, I was like, okay, cool. Like, he's super sweet, very romantic, very thoughtful guy, perfect gentleman, but I'm not really sure. And I had just gotten over a horrible, horrible breakup. So I was like, you know, I'm not gonna consider. And so he texts me a picture of Wesley with a little paper sign that said something like, go on a date with my daddy, or thank you for going on a date with my daddy, or something like that. And I was like, oh, giving me the feels. And that was it. We saw each other for, I don't know, every single day for like the next 6 months until we got married. But Wesley was part of that transaction. He came along with the ex. So Wesley started to have certain issues with skin allergies back home in San Diego, but they weren't anything severe. It was just like a lot of gas. Like, he would have a lot of gas. And so we were like, okay, well, they're dietary issues, so we'll just give him like a more simplified diet. And that took care of it. When we were in San Diego, that was about it. That was the extent of his illnesses. So Wesley is a super sweet dog. I mean, if I could tell you how many times I've actually seen him angry, I could probably count them on one finger. He is very balanced. He's very, I hate to say loyal, because I feel like all dogs are loyal to their, you know, in their special way. So he's definitely loyal, but he's just mellow, and he's happy, and he's content, and he's brave, and he's strong. He's the only one that I fear if for any reason he ever got out, even though he's chipped, I'd never get him back. Every single person that meets him falls in love with him. Every single person that sees him wants to hold him. Every single person that sees him smiles because he's so smushy and cuddly. He lets anyone pet him. He can go to the dog park and make 42 friends. He's just a great, happy dog. He actually didn't start gaining weight, according to my ex, until I came into the picture, which I'm like, that doesn't mean anything, because he was a puppy. You know what I mean? Like, maybe he was just gonna be a chubby dog. He's just a happy, happy dog. He wiggles and he sleeps most of the time. He loves, don't tell him I told you, he loves wearing clothes. He used to have like his own little Rubbermaid 3-drawer storage container with clothes. Just his clothes. He had like polos and little sweater vests and just different collars. It wasn't like we wanted to dress him. It was one of those things where like, oh, let's dress him and be funny, and it was cool. But when we would take it off, he would get sad, and when we put it on, he'd get excited. So we realized he actually likes wearing clothes. But his body type is a little unique, as you may have noticed. So unless I learn how to knit, it's very difficult to dress him because he's like short and stocky and husky and stumpy. But perfect. You're perfect. That's why you need to have Purple Label suits custom made for you. Because you're super luxe. So, like I said, he's almost 10. After we moved to Dallas, I started to notice that he was extremely itchy all the time. And he was so itchy to the point where he would break skin. So we went through this long process of trying to find the perfect antihistamine type drug for him that would actually work. The allergies were first like, oh, well, let's try and narrow it down. Maybe it's dietary. Oh, maybe it's environmental. And if it's environmental, you can't really do much about it, right? Unless you do one of those super involved tests to pinpoint what it is. And once you do that, if it's environmental, you can't really do anything about it anyway, you know? So his skin condition worsened in the last year, where he started to get severe, like, topical skin infections. So from like in a lapse of 24 hours, he would go from just regular dog fur skin or whatever to just wet, pussy, infected skin in 24 hours. So his skin condition would worsen so bad and become so bad in just 24 hours that we'd have to take him to the vet. He would get steroid shot. He would get antibiotics, and depending on what they swabbed on his skin, he would either get like an antifungal medication, or like like a yeast infection medication type, because it was like, sometimes it was yeast. I'm a little scatterbrained because this kid has so many things going on. So yeah, they would give him like a yeast infection medication or whatever. They'd give him a spray, like a topical spray. Needless to say, we've been on a very fun allergy discovery adventure. Now, a lot of you guys have suggested like, oh, how about Apoquel, or how about this? There's a lot of amazing allergy type medications on the market right now. None of them have worked for him. Our last ditch effort right now, I don't remember the name of the medication, but it's an immunosuppressant medication that's actually given to patients that are getting organ transplants. Now, it's kind of a toss-up because like 85% of the time it works, but it can also compromise other areas of his health, you know. But we don't have any options anymore because he was diagnosed with diabetes about 2 months ago, and I didn't think I would take it so hard, you know. He wakes up one day and he pees in the house. And I was like, okay, I'll let it slide because he never does that. He is a good boy, such a good boy. The extent of like his yuckiness is maybe when he has an upset tummy and he vomits in the house. And usually it's downstairs by the door because he was waiting for me to take him out and I missed it, you know. So I was like, wow, he peed in the house. All right, I'll let it slide. In a lapse of like 12 hours, he peed in the house like 10 times. I was at my wit's end. I was so frustrated because nobody wants to spend their whole day like cleaning up piss, right? And it wasn't like he was squirting or marking, because a lot of boy dogs mark, right? None of mine, thank God, but a lot of boy dogs mark, so they'll just do a little dribble here or there. He was full on peeing like a gallon, and it was so frustrating for me because it's gross, you know. It's gross. People live here. Like, if you come to my house, it doesn't smell like dogs live here. If you come to my house, it doesn't look like dogs live here, and I like it that way. But he was just drinking water like it was going out of style, and obviously the mom in me was like, this isn't normal, something's wrong with him. So I called the vet. The vet's like, if you can collect a sample, bring it in and we'll test it. So the next time I took him out, I'm over here trying to catch pee in a Tupperware that I never got back, by the way. I take it to the vet, and the vet calls me and he's like, well, I have great news. He doesn't have a bladder infection. And I was like, oh, thank God, because that's what we thought it was. He's like, and it's also not residuals from the steroids that he took for his dermatitis. So that's good news, but he does have diabetes. I'm sorry, you kind of set it up like you were gonna give me good news. That seems like you gave me the worst possible news I could have gotten besides he has cancer, right? Like, it's basically saying he has an illness that he's not going to get better from, and now you're committed to injecting him twice a day with a needle on your own. What do you say? You know, like, he's setting you up with relief and then saying, oh, but he has diabetes. So anyway, we went in that same day after the vet called us. They kind of explained to us what it means, how we can manage it. They showed us, like they taught us with saline, how to properly administer the insulin. Needless to say, it's been a roller coaster this year with my dogs, between murmurs and infections and diabetes and all this stuff. It's been a long process, but I think when I realized how important having these relationships with these animals, how important it was when I was going through my divorce, and my ex and I we couldn't agree on many things, on most things. Did you guys hear that thunder? But at the end of the day, I said, I want my dogs. I want to keep my dogs. I want them to stay with me. I want to take care of them. Otherwise, you know, the stuff, the furniture, the house, the cars, I don't care about that stuff. Not to mention that after I got divorced, I consider probably my 4 dogs like my therapy dogs. You know, I had a lot of panic attacks. I had a lot of anxiety. I had a lot of stress. I don't suffer from anxiety. I don't suffer from depression. But in that moment in time, I was experiencing panic. I was experiencing a lot of anxiety. And it was to the point where I couldn't breathe. I couldn't make myself breathe. Sure enough, they were my therapy dogs. They were like my emotional support dogs. And even now, I have to leave dinners early. I can't stay out late. It's hard for me to go out of town. Boarding 4 dogs, it's like $600 every time. I have to come home. I'm committed to his insulin schedule. You know, I can't go more than 12 to 14 hours without giving him his dose. And as stressful as it could be sometimes, and it feels almost like a prison sentence, it's the best type of prison sentence I could ever ask for. You know, what they do for me and what they give me and the purpose that they give me is something that I'll never be able to thank them enough for. It's something that I'll never be able to repay them for. That unconditional love and the hugs and how happy they always are to see me. Like, I can tell you, I can annoy my mom very easy. I can annoy my brother, my best friend, you know, my boyfriend is like, oh my God, here's Dani again. I can never annoy my dogs. You know, like, they get annoyed, but they keep coming back for more loving. They play with me and they love me and they support me. So whatever his journey is, whatever Wesley's journey is, I'm gonna be here with him along the way to love him and support him and take care of him and love him and make sure that he's always comfortable, you know, even if it means having more back rolls, right, my love? Plus, look how he looks at me. Like, who looks at you that way? Wesley does. Bunker Bear looks at me that way. Are you my bunker? Are you my bunker? Why do I love you so? Why do I love you so? I'm never, ever, ever gonna let you go because you're my bunker. You're my bunker. I'm never, ever, ever gonna let you go because you're my bunker. You're my bunker. They may or may not have their own individual songs, okay? I'm pretty sure I forgot to include the tapas in his video. But if you've ever visited my home, if you've ever spent time with me in my house, you're very familiar with the tapa song. If you watch my vlogs, I'm sure you've heard Sophia's song. Anyway, so that's it for Wesley's story. He is one of the more popular one of my 4 dog babies on my Insta story or on my Instagram. So if you want to see more of my dogs, they're always all up in my Instagram. But it's funny because I'll never question God's plan. I'll never question why I met my ex. I'll never question why we got divorced. I'll never question how this guy came into my life. All I know is I'm thankful that, you know, I was able to marry my ex. I'm thankful that, you know, this little man came into my life. I'm thankful that I'm blessed enough to be able to give him the medical care that he needs, the time and attention that he requires. And I think I've gotten to the point in my life where I'm done asking God why and just saying thank you, and I'll figure it out when I'm ready to. I'll figure out why I need to inject you twice a day. Even on days where it's one of those days where we go out and we have too much fun and we come home and it's like, it's time for your insulin. You know what I mean? Like, it just never slips my mind. These guys, my children, they're always front and center in my mind, in my heart, and I'm so blessed, you guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed Wesley's story. If you want to hear the Topo story, I will link it in the description box below. Sophia's next, and she's a character, let me tell you. I don't need to explain to you guys why that video is going to take me a lot of motivation. She is full of sass, she's kind of a troublemaker, and she's the reason I still have baby gates in my house, even though my baby is 3 years old. Almost 4. Okay, Sophia is the reason while we have to roll cell block D and close gate C because she's a troublemaker. So if y'all want to know about my schnoodle, she's coming up next. But otherwise, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. And you know what to do? If you found this video useful, entertaining, and learned something, please give us a paw up and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, this coffee break is over. Bye, guys. Say bye. Say bye. Hold on. Oh, let's turn around. Let's show them your rolls one more time. Sit. Sit down. Sit down. You gotta show them your rolls. Ta-da-dun, dun, dun, ta-da-dun, dun, dun, ta-da-dun, dun, dun, ta-da-dun, dun, dun, ta-da-dun.